Noxcrew! Hey guys, welcome back. It's Avondale here. I'm back here with Blue Help Bot, otherwise known as Niall.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, he's so good right now, I think he's eating cereal. Okay, so today we're going to talk about Lockdown, and let's go out and fly over it a little bit and we'll discuss.
Okay, so the design of this game evolved from Gridlock, which I think was episode 4, and basically it evolved into this PvP control point game. And there are three real main elements to it. There's the actual PvP itself. We turned off regeneration for this one because we wanted there to be plenty of life cycles, plenty of damage. We didn't want anybody to be able to camp. We just, if you could get a hit on somebody, that hit would count. Then we also had the doors, which double both as ways to keep people from just running into any single room, but also as a spawn point as well. And finally, we had the placing of the wall, which was actually completely monitored by a series of command blocks, which was quite cleverly done, if not as terribly time-consuming, I'd imagine.
Well, thank you. Actually, that was one of the shorter projects. So let's go ahead and we'll bust down through the floor here and we'll take a look at the actual redstone that ran this game. Now, I'm looking down because I don't want to spoil it until I get into a nice spot where I can give you an overview. And you can see the hell that I was put through to make this game run. Here it is, the Lockdown Redstone. Okay, so Lockdown was actually the only game in the game show that ran itself entirely from start to finish. All I had to do was push one button, and then everything else did everything automatically. It was going to happen whether there were people there or not, and it was going to run for 6 minutes no matter what. So, started out by placing a redstone block here. That started the entire 6-minute process, and you'll see here I have some green wool and some red wool. And we have all these other command blocks over here. So I did a modular system, which basically means that when it says you need to shut this door, it's going to tell one command block to place one redstone block up in the module that controls the door, and then that'll open it and shut it. So now in between these doors, there's different bits of delay here. There's 2 doors that open here, and then there's 6 seconds of delay around these repeaters. And then it starts the closing animation for the next set of doors. That animation takes 4 seconds, and so right when this next series of doors opens is exactly when the doors before will have shut themselves. Because the doors will animate, they'll go from yellow to orange to red. So if we look at these systems up here, we'll get out a redstone block real quick. Putting a redstone block here would do the first animation, the second animation, and then the third up top, and then putting one here would open the door back up, and we'll see that door open when we head back up. So, why is there a silverfish? He looks interesting.
I'm sorry, I'm really sorry, please ignore it. I was constructing a seat that I could watch you do your explanation in, and I accidentally selected the mossy stone brick monster egg. I'm very sorry.
Noxcrew builders, everyone. Okay. So we'll look at 2 more systems down below. The first system we'll look at is this random spawn selector here. So now these 8 command blocks at the end are spawn points for all players in the game, and it picks a different location in between each of the doors that go around the outside of the track. So that works when this clock is turned on here, which it is during the game. The way these randomizers work is there's a block of diamond and a diamond sword. Now the block of diamond, when it's in the hopper, gives a signal strength of 1 coming out, and the diamond sword, when it's up here, gives a signal strength of 3. So when the signal strength is 3, it triggers this next one. When it's 1, it goes this side. And that just works its way through the maze until it picks one of the 8 options. So that was running continuously during the game along with this system here. Now what this system did is it live updated the scoreboard that you saw in the bottom right hand corner of your screen when you were watching the episode with who actually had what color at what time. And this could be done with far fewer command blocks in 1.8, but it needed to be done with this many here. So we're actually going to go back up now into the game. Okay, so I'm back in the lobby now. Niall's going to pretend to be a player and he's going to start breaking and placing wool on the screen here.
Okay, I'll do blue wool because blue team for the never win.
That's so sad, isn't it? Okay, and so you can see he's in the middle room here, and he's just broken and placed them all, and so now if he goes through into a different room, he's now in the bottom center room, he broke and placed one. So you can see that it's live updating everything that happens, and that was really helpful to us for the video editing, because if we hadn't done this system out of Redstone, then Noxcrew would have had to figure out a graphic that he could have edited in to show people the current status, and if he did that throughout the course of the game, you probably still wouldn't have seen this episode of the game show because he'd still be editing it. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about how the different rooms were designed, and we'll talk about the center room as well, and then we're also going to talk a little bit about some of the things that didn't turn out so well with this game. So first, Niall, why don't you show us what this middle room does?
Okay, so this is awesome. Now, you designed this one, didn't you?
I did design this one. We actually had a build team competition to design rooms for this game, and this was one of the ones that they liked so much they decided to include.
Now this is the center room. We encouraged all of the contestants to begin with to actually just run into the room straight away because A, it makes for better footage, and B, Noxcrew said whoever would capture it would win. He would buy them 2 pints the next time he saw them. So
he did say that, didn't he?
He did say that. They were like, "We get 2 points in the game." He's like, "No, 2 pints of alcohol." Anyway, so these pressure pads here, when you run over them for a brief period of time, they make the platform of their respective color disappear. They're fantastic because they're not something that you immediately recognize or understand, but hopefully after playing for more than 30 seconds you kind of get a feeling for the fact that that's a pitfall.
Alright. And lots of people, especially in testing, would try to run off the platform through a door and would spleef themselves into the water, and we found that to just be so funny. It's such a, we are trying to gain inspiration from such TV shows as Wipeout and other things like that, and that is such a Wipeout thing to do.
Yeah, Takeshi's Castle, yeah.
So we did that.
And it's not unfair either because all players have the exact same advantage as a symmetrical room.
Exactly, and you can use it to knock your opponents off as well. If someone was coming through the red door, you could run up there and spleef them into the water.
I honestly don't think any of the contestants figured it out though.
I don't think so either.
Which is a shame. No, in testing, plenty of people that tested it for the first time figured it out, but everybody responds to things differently. It was just one of those things where nobody got it. Now, with all of these rooms here, initially we didn't actually have that live updating scoreboard. We were just planning to have one camera do a massive, bird's eye view shot, which meant that some of the rooms that we designed had to be cut or modified so that there was nothing over the top of them. Because basically the plan was, with the bird's eye view, that was going to be the score tracker. It wasn't going to be the best way to keep track, but at least you'd have something. So some of the rooms we had to completely redo from scratch because there was just too much stuff over the actual capture point itself.
Right. And we did use, I believe, 3 rooms out of the build competition. However, I don't remember which ones they were. I know that this room here with the redstone down in the pit was not an original room. This one was designed out of the build competition.
This one over here was the one that I designed because everyone, I think at this point, this was the last room and we were struggling to come up with ideas. And I'm like, screw it, I'm building a bar. So I built myself a little bar over here. Somebody else built a fantastic jukebox. I built a pool table and put streamers and a piano as well around the place. This is the most boring room obstacle-wise, but you need a couple of flat rooms as well, because you don't want to make everything too much of an obstacle.
And honestly, in my opinion, I thought that some of the rooms required too much parkour to get in and out of. I thought that we might have done a better job if we had kept the rooms a little bit flatter. So I did like that room, actually.
Look, honestly, I'm okay with that. Like, I'm okay with a few rooms having pitfalls, and you'll notice that most of the rooms that have those pitfalls are the middle center rooms, so like the center edge rooms. Because the corners are much more easy to maneuver through, and that was a deliberate feature, I think. I will say it was, even if it wasn't.
Yeah.
Because having people kind of more congestion in the center rooms means more interaction as people move through them, whereas with those quieter rooms there, we just kind of want people to move through them more quickly because they're not going to see as many people.
Right.
And obviously the room with the most congestion is the one that's got the trolley pitfall traps.
Right. So during the episode, Blue Team was pretty vocal about how they felt about this game, and it was something that we were sort of wondering about during testing. And one thing that we learned throughout our testing was that there was definitely a point to play the game for as long as we played it. However, if we had greater potential with Redstone as far as scorekeeping, we think we would have liked to have more of a sort of timer based on how long you held the individual cap points. We could definitely understand where Blue Team was coming from as far as them thinking that it was a crapshoot and sort of whoever won the end of it won the game, but what the interesting thing about
really
this game is
like...
it was and it wasn't, and the reason that it was that way is because they were all playing it for the first time. But we proved during testing that there are certain strategies that over the course of 6 minutes can certainly allow you to smoke another team, and it's just one of those that, like when I said it is and it isn't. You know, this is one of those games that probably wasn't a good game show game because of that. It's a really enjoyable game to play.
Game show game. Yeah, it's still I still think it is a good game show game. I mean, at the end of the day, like, we're doing this for the primary purpose of making a show, so when it comes down to that sort of thing, like, it's very visually appealing. There's 9 different rooms, they're all bright and interesting, and there's lots of PvP action going on. And in terms of the actual mechanics, yeah, you could say that it's a bit of a crapshoot, but honestly, during testing, even with those first-time players, like, there were games that were very obviously one-sided. It just came down to the fact that we had 2 teams that were incredibly evenly matched.
Yeah, it did end up being really close. In the future, if we were to try a game like this again, I think we would probably try to stay away from that mechanic where it's the outcome is decided right at the end, because one thing we did notice is that it's sort of, you didn't need to watch the first 5 minutes of the game. The outcome couldn't have been determined earlier than that.
Yeah.
So you could really just skip forward until the last minute and then watch it and you'd be fine. So we actually are already drafting a successor to this game that will actually have the ability to win the game at any point during the middle of it. So hopefully that game sees the light of day, because I think that it is a really good alternative to this. I think it keeps a lot of the things that made Lockdown great, but at the same time it improves upon the things that made it feel a little bit random to certain people. Okay, so anyways, that was our thoughts and the behind the scenes of Lockdown. So you can join us next time when we will talk about Sprint V3. Bye!
Bye!